What?
You can be delayed, but you click the link.
What link?
He's gonna, if you're going live, he's gonna click on your link so you can see this stuff.
Okay, that's fine. Just make sure you turn your volume down.
You can't hear it, can you?
I will be...
No, on your phone, whenever you click the link, turn your volume down.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, here we are back. Madden 24, ready for our first predictions video of the year. Hopefully, we'll be a lot more consistent about it this year down the stretch. Jeez, turn the bar. Thank you. Got Dean and JG's with me, of course. For those that are new, I'm Jason. I'm the Texans. Dean is the Bengals. JG's is the 49ers. We're going to be doing our week one games predictions, as well as predicting who we think is going to win each division and our wild card teams. We're going to be doing a quick little run through of all that. It should be relatively short video, 30 to 45 minutes or so. It's going to be really good stuff. We'll get different opinions in there and see how everybody's feeling. Why don't we go ahead and start with our week one games, and then we'll get to the division predictions after. League schedule. All right. First up, game one, Thursday Night Football. Drop and his Lions travel to Arrowhead to play Dwayne and his Chiefs. Drop's got an interesting team this year. It's young. I believe he's going to be starting Hendon Hooker. It's going to be the go-to. Dwayne's got a really good team with his Chiefs. We'll see how well he can compete this year with them. So why don't we start with Dean, and we'll go JG's, then we'll do me on each one of these games we go through.
Yeah, so interesting quarterback choice for Drop if you say Hooker. It's not going to matter this week. He'll beat Dwayne, but I don't think that's a good idea for him when he's playing JJ and Savon twice a year. But he'll win. He'll probably beat Dwayne like I said, 34 to 17 or so. He'll lock him up on defense, but probably won't get that close.
All right, I believe Rock will win 49 to 7. It's gonna be really close. I hope it's close because Dwayne has the Chiefs. Should play good with the Chiefs now. You know, got Mahomes. I like Rock.
Well, I mean, Dwayne's not a passer, so I mean, it's a good team, but it's probably the worst matchup for him having that good team. Him at home, so he's not going to drive. What do you think, Jason?
I think that Drop's going to win. It would be a huge upset if Dwayne won, even with the Chiefs roster. But that being said, we are in season one, where we know that rosters matter more than anything this year compared to other seasons. And the way this game feels, it's more of a slow pace type game, running and short passes. I think Dwayne's going to keep this one close early. I see Drop pulling away whenever Dwayne is forced to pass later in the game. I'll say the Lions win 42 to 17 over the Chiefs.
Quick side note on the Lions. So I know he might be starting Hooker. Hooker's a 25-year-old rookie, so he's got very little time to develop. And then Jared Goff has 97 short accuracy. I don't think I've ever seen that from like a mid-level quarterback. So very interesting.
I could be wrong on. I think the idea, at least if it was me, would be to start Hooker and then deal him at some point. I mean, Goff is not the long-term option. Maybe he's going to use Goff, though, if he really wants to try to win games this year. Moving on, we have the Panthers at the Falcon. Bryce Young and Peso Kit travel on the road to Atlanta to play Jeff with his Atlanta Falcons. Old school division rivalry here. Two relatively, I think these two are so close in talent, like as user talent, that it's not even funny. Like I think of both of them, I think of running defensive users for both of them. So it's going to be a super interesting game. This one will be fun. I like the Panthers roster a little bit more, especially the quarterback situation with Bryce Young compared to Desmond Ridder. Dean, what do you think here?
Yeah, I know Jeff's got a lot more time in with that Falcons team than I'm sure he's got more time in than Peso has with the Panthers. So he's definitely going to be more familiar with his team. And defensively, I think the Panthers got a better defense, but the Falcons' offense is pretty nice. So despite Bryce being better, I think that it's been much easier for Jeff to move the ball. And it's probably a close game, but I think Jeff wins by like 3 or 6 points, maybe like 30-24, something like that.
I like the Panthers in this one. Their defense is really good. Um, that's how I see it. I just think the defense on that I played a couple of games against them, man. It's a really hard team to move against. But we'll see. It should be a close game. But I like the Panthers 23-20.
My dad has a saying for these type of games. They're called old school slobber knockers, man. It's going to be a defensive football game here. Lots of running the ball, punts by each team. I don't see a lot of turnovers. Give me the Panthers to win on the road. Give me Peso to beat Jeff on the road, 17-13.
I'm taking Robinson for 3 touchdowns.
Oh, wow. Next, we have the Houston Texans traveling on the road to play the Baltimore Ravens. Of course, I am the Texans. With this roster, I'm trying to find the best I can. New QB situation. C.J. Stroud drafted 2nd overall, immediately dealt to Tennessee for Malik Willis and a handful of draft picks. Leslie's got these Ravens, which actually I think really benefit him more than any team he's had in the past. He's going to be able to run with Lamar. He's got a great defense, good offensive line. This is a really interesting game for sure. What do you think, Dean?
He's got Odell Beckham, which I know in Madden I don't think he's that good. He's nice, but it's the best receiver by far that Lamar's ever had in his career. So that's nice for Leslie to have. And then I think, like you said, having Lamar is good for him. I think you guys played, in reg some, and he held his own. So I'd say it'll be a close game. Leslie, if you're listening, the scouting report is blitzed the hell out of Malik Willis.
Whoa, shh, be quiet.
So bad. But I think like that, Jason's going to find a way to get some short passing going and find a way to, and he can scramble too. So as good as Lamar's going to be running, Willis can run too. He's just got to protect the ball a little bit because he doesn't have the abilities. But I'd say Jason wins probably by a touchdown or 2 touchdowns. It'll be close at first, and then Jason will pull away at the end once he figures out how to shut down Lamar.
Yeah, I think the Ravens have the better roster, but I think the better user is Texans. They should be able to win 27-17.
I'm going to pick myself to win, but I think that last Madden really made people forget that Leslie's not bad at Madden. He just had a really off year. I think he's going to have a really good Madden in general this year. I hate this in such a tough division. He's going to play me extremely close here. He did beat me in the game of regs that we played. But I'm going to take myself to win. Let's go 24-21, game-winning field goal. Next, we have a game I'm super excited for. The Dean's Bengals travel on the road to Cleveland to play Twan. Twan has had a fire sale going on in the Browns Stadium, man. He's shipping out everybody, including Nick Chubb, who's on his way to Buffalo. Deshaun Watson does look like he's going to be able to keep his job. So he'll be the starting quarterback heading into week 1, I believe. Dean's made a lot of moves as well, especially in the secondary, picking up Quandre Diggs, Kevin Byard as well, if I'm correct, Dean. Picked up Bakhtiari on the offensive line. So kind of where Dean's picking up talent, Twan's sending talent out. So this will be a good game. We're going to have Dean go last on this one. We'll start with JG's, then we'll go with my pick, and then we'll finish with Dean.
Yeah, I like the Browns secondary. Whole thing down. Both users are really good. I just think secondary is going to be different. Swan will win 27-26.
I think that Twan's going to put up a fight defensively, but the problem is that I think Dean's offense is going to be too good, and Dean will hold his own defensively as well. I think it'll be closer. I think it'll be close early, but I think Dean's offense pulls away in the second half, looking at T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. So give me the Bengals to win here 35-24.
Yeah, so secondary one, the Browns do have a good stock secondary, but the Bengals added Byard and Diggs, and the speed the Bengals have is insane. So Cooper is the only real challenge that we're going to have. So I think if we can stop Cooper and get some pressure on Watson, it should be a pretty simple day for us on defense. Twan's defense is good though, so I can see it being tight. I got the Bengals by about 2 touchdowns. The biggest reason, other than me thinking I'm a better user, is the fact that Twan does have many moving pieces and he's getting rid of talent. and I've done nothing but bring talent in, so my roster is definitely a lot better. So if I lose, it's just Twan outplaying me. So.
Good pick, good pick. Moving down to the Jaguars at the Colts. This is Alex with his hometown Jags. He is a fan of versus Chap and the Colts. So Anthony Richardson will be getting his first start for Chap. Trevor Lawrence, of course, trotting out for the Jaguars. No moves yet by the Colts. Jags have made a few small moves, mostly picking up very young talent that I think he's planning to build moving forward with. We'll start here with Dean.
Yeah, it's a tough one. You said Giants and Lions, right?
Jaguars or Colts?
Jags and Colts. So Jags and Colts. I'm tempted to take the Jags just because I think Alex, obviously, when he plays a good user in a playoff or something, like he does struggle a bit. But against those mid users, he's pretty consistently the better player. And the Jags roster has so much upside with Lawrence. I don't know how much Madden made Lawrence, but I'm sure he's pretty good. So I say he wins probably by 10 points or more. Probably struggles at the beginning to get used to the team and then takes over second half.
Yeah, I believe Alex will win this one 30-20.
Yeah, geez, you stole my pick. I was going to say 30-20 as well. I like that exact score. I think that Chap will keep it close early. But then we'll start to see Alex pull away in the second half, mostly off of I think he'll make defensive adjustments and slow down Chap's run game, make him pass with Richardson. Moving on, we have the Bucks with Mike Purple Rain on the road at JJ's Vikings. Loaded offensive team. When you start looking at the Vikings, Jay Jettas, Jordan Addison, I know he's going to want to get involved. He does have Kirk Cousins still throwing them the ball this year. Bucks have talent on both sides of the ball as well. It's going to be really interesting here. What do you think, Dean?
Yeah, I mean, JJ is just really too good at Madden. I don't think glitchy. He's not glitchy, but he knows, the things that he knows right away just by being. I'm not sure if he watches stuff just by being younger. He figures shit out, but he knows what works already. I don't think that the Purple Rain is going to be that good at this Madden yet. So JJ's going to win. It might be a little challenging for him to try to play defense with that Vikings team because they're not that nice on defense, but he'll probably win by 2 or 3 touchdowns in this one. In the home opener for the Vikings.
Yeah, I've got JJ winning 42-17. Yeah, I'm not liking Baker Mayfield, but yeah, the Bucks do have a lot of talent. It's just that quarterback situation. JJ should be able to win that game pretty easy.
To my understanding, this will be the first time Mike's ever played JJ. Now, I always find when new users play JJ the first time, they tend to struggle with him. I think he does have a pretty good defensive scheme as well, and he does not turn the ball over a lot on offense. This is one of my blowout picks of the week. I'm going to take the Vikings and Hutch to cruise in this one. I'm going to say 49-10 over the Bucks. Next, we have Ryan and his Titans traveling on the road to play Zay and his Saints. These two users met up a ton last year in the AFC playoffs. Both of them have relatively okay teams. Titans made moves bringing in C.J. Stroud. Saints have yet to make any moves, but they have great receiving core, good running back, good defense, good offensive line. I think Ryan's going to have his work cut out for him in this one.
Yeah, I mean, Zay's really solid at Madden. And as we know, Ryan's doing some his typical moves to good players out. Like he sent Byard away and he sent Willis away, and he's bringing in a rookie quarterback who I guess is really an upgrade, but still he's got some moving pieces. I feel like Ryan to win. I think it's gonna be close. That defense for the Saints is really good, so it might be a low scoring one, but I got Ryan by about a field goal in this one.
Yeah, I'll take Ryan 24-17. It's hard to go against him, man. Good users always in championship. The Super Bowl. So it's hard to go against Ryan. That's anybody's pretty much.
I'm going to take Ryan to win. I think the Zay will keep this one closer because Ryan's obviously going to be airing the ball out all season long trying to get Stroud built. He's going to have Derrick Henry still. I think Zay will keep it close because of that, but I'm going to say Ryan pulls away late, wins this game 38-24 over the Saints. Next, we have JG's and his 49ers traveling on the road to play Gabe and his Steelers. QB change happening in Pittsburgh. Kyler Murray on the way in while Kenny Pickett headed out the door to Arizona. JG's hasn't made any moves yet, but of course is a great stock team. Christian McCaffrey looking to have a big day, of course. We'll go with Dean here, then we'll move to me, and we'll finish up with G's.
Yeah, so I want to look first before I said anything and make sure that Gabe has already traded Minka. He has, in fact. Minka Fitzpatrick is now a Seahawk. So I can publicly say that was a very stupid trade for Gabe. I'm not saying he's going to lose this game, but I don't really know what he's doing exactly. I know he's trying to think long term instead of short term, but he's got a pretty good defense, especially if he kept Minka right now. So, I mean, this game, it's a tough matchup playing the Niners because Eads knows how to play defense. They have a good defense. So it might be low scoring at first. And as much as I hope Eads wins, I do think Gabe's going to pull that one out, but I'm rooting for Eads to figure out how to stop him. But Gabe's offense is going to be nice with Kyler Murray, with the read option, with the RPOs. So I got Gabe winning that one by a score of 30-27.
Yeah, this one's going to be an interesting game. I think the better user's Gabe. I think Gabe plays better offense, but between the two of them, the defense, both of them are pretty good defensive users. I think that as long as Gabe focuses on CMC and kind of makes JG's pass the ball, that he's going to struggle a little bit. And, Gabe is best whenever he has two great elite pass rushers, which he's starting with stock with Cam Hayward and TJ Watt. I think they're going to give Brock Purdy some trouble. I see the Steelers kind of pulling away eventually in this one. Give me Gabe to win this one 28-21 over the 49ers.
Please tell us how you're going to win. How you going to win?
Yeah, I'm not going to pick against myself. I believe I'm going to win 31-28. I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to win, but I'm going to win. That's all I'm going to say.
How do you feel about Purdy this year? I was curious about the quarterback situation because we know that Gabe just made a big upgrade getting Kyler Murray, he's not good, but he's serviceable and he's fast. I'm looking at Purdy. He's got some serious limitations with his throw power being 84.
Jesus, 84.
Good, but
I've been able to get the ball out with him. He's good at play action. He can throw on the run, man. He's pretty good, man. He's solid. He's like, I like him.
You're not making any moves to quarterback, Heath? Is that your...
No.
I expect it, all right. It's a good game.
This is case out with his Cardinals coming in the worst overall roster in the league as far as overall goes. Playing Flip and his Commanders. Hopefully this game gets played. Flip is having some issues with his PlayStation 5 currently. He's going to have it replaced, but he says that he thinks he should be good to go by game time.
So, I mean, not only is K-Stap's roster like the worst, like technically overall, it's like this might be the worst roster we've seen in Madden in like 5 years, and he's the best guy for this team because I think he's maybe the most complete builder, not the best, but the most complete. Like he'll make you his 5th round pick a starter, guaranteed. Like he's really good at that. So I think he wins this game from me and on, but I'm more excited to see what he does long term because. He already traded Kyler, so I'm not sure who's going to start at quarterback. But he's really got his work cut out for him. It's going to be fun to watch. I got him winning this one if they do play by a touchdown.
Yeah, K-Stap is very trashy. They'll find a way to win. They'll find a way to win this one. 27%.
Yeah, even when K-Stap doesn't have great defensive rosters, he plays great defense. And the name of the game for him on offense is speed. He has 97 speed Marquise Brown, 95 speed Rondell Moore, and 96 speed Anthony Schwartz. So he's going to be airing the ball out. The Commanders have a couple good big corners, physical guys like Emmanuel Forbes and Juste, I think is his last name, from Minnesota. But the problem is not a ton of speed there. I think K-Stap's going to pull away with this one. I don't think Flip has gotten to play too much either, which is going to work against him. So give me K-Stap to win this game. QB's going to limit him, I'm going to say, but he's going to win 31-7 over the Commanders. Moving on, we have... Go ahead.
I was going to say what's crazy is I'm looking at the quarterback, so he's got Pickett now. They swapped him and swapped that Murray trade. Obviously, Murray's way more athletic and he's got a stronger arm, but Pickett is, in a way, more accurate, and he's a little younger, so really not a bad deal for the Cardinals to get all that capital plus a quarterback that's just barely worth. So very interesting trade to the Cardinals.
I think so
I don't
too.
even like using Kyler Murray. I've used Kyler Murray. I don't like him. For some reason, it seems weird using him.
Well, this year's Kyler, we kind of are rolling off his name. This year's Kyler is nothing special. He's 26 years old, 79 overall, star dev. So I mean, he's got the speed, but he's just not as complete a player as he has been in the past. Moving on, we have the Packers and Savon taking on Delvin and his Bears. I want to say nice things about Delvin in this one, but it's going to be tough. Now, I will say that he's got a pretty decent roster, especially for him. Somebody's going to run the ball. He's got Damian Pierce, former Texan, 3 good tight ends and some speed at receiver, plus Justin Fields. It's going to be about limiting the turnovers, but Savon always finds a way to just blow people out when we think that he may not.
Yeah, so Savon, much like Quan, he's kind of having a fire sale. He sold the 2 best Packer players, other than Jair, 2 best older players. He sold Bakhtiari to the Bengals and sold Kenny Clark over to
Tennessee.
Titans.
Yeah,
Titans.
Tennessee.
So he's doing the same thing that Twan's looking to do. He's really building for the draft and everything. That's what he always does. So he doesn't really care if he wins or not. He's going to just play for stats. And in this game, unfortunately for Delvin, his RPO game is just going to eat him alive. So Jordan Love probably finishes with like 5-6 touchdowns. Probably going to win by about 20, 30 points.
Yeah. Yeah, this is another guy. You can't put this against he'll win 56 to 7.
Yeah, I like what JG's on here about the defense. I don't know if Delvin's going to score. I'm going to give him a field goal just because it's hard to predict a shutout. But I'm going to say Savon wins 52 to 3. Moving on, we have the Raiders and Des playing on the road at LP and his Broncos. Broncos have a pretty good stock defensive team. He's got a few weapons on offense. I think that Des is a better user than people may think he was to finish up last Madden. He had a couple big wins down the stretch there, but people kind of think of him as in that 13 to 14 range, and I think he's really more of like a 9 to 10 level top 10 user still. Unfortunately for him, LP is also Max Duggan getting the start for the Raiders. All 63 overall of him or whatever it is. It's going to really limit him, I think, in this game. Dean?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if he's, so I know obviously Duggan is the guy. I don't know how much he's trying to win this. I mean, obviously you want to win, not trying to lose, but how much does he want to, sacrifice the future for right now? Like, if you want to play Duggan all year, or maybe like a big game like this, divisional game against his probably best divisional opponent, he might actually, Jimmy G's still on the roster, so I wouldn't be surprised if Des comes out with Jimmy G, at least as long as the game's competitive. Fully bought into Duggan as a future quarterback, because I'd like to think he would be, but it's going to be an uphill battle. So I think he comes out with Jimmy, we'll see. And I think the game's very competitive, actually. I don't think that I don't think that Wilson is much better than Jimmy. Yeah, Wilson's 1 overall better than Jimmy G. So quarterback's pretty even. The defense is definitely better for the Broncos. And I said the offense, like the Broncos got the better roster, but user-wise, I think they're pretty close. It's going to be an interesting game. I'll probably take LP by about a touchdown if Jimmy G plays. If it's Duggan, then maybe 2 touchdowns. But I think it could be an upset win for Des if he plays his cards right.
No Devontae Adams here. Very important to note.
I'll take LP 34-24.
I think the LP...
Close, and then he'll pull away in the 4th quarter.
I think... I like Des as a user, I really do, but I think this is not a good matchup for him. Young quarterback heading on the road to play one of the better defensive users in this whole league. I like the Broncos to win here, and I'm going to say 27-10 over the Raiders.
Yeah, and since you mentioned Adams, I just want to point out the starting receivers for the Raiders are 2 slot receivers. You got Renfro and you got Jacoby Myers. So they're both very slow. So whichever one Sartain on is just shut down, and then the second one's probably not getting open either. So one thing about it is probably going to beat LP by closer to 14, 20 points. But we'll give Des a chance.
Rob and his Dolphins travel on the road to play Chevy and his Chargers. Speak of Devontae Adams, he has found himself a home in Miami next to Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, easily the best receiving core in the entire league, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna think on that one. Geez, you go first.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put the Dolphins on that one. Wow. 41 to 27.
I don't know about 41. I know that he's gonna go score with those receivers, but I do think that Chevy is a consistently like mid user, and Rob is like the top of the mid, but he's like not mid pack. So I think they're very evenly matched in a way. And despite the advantage that the Dolphins have at receiver, and probably defense is close. You got good players on both sides of the ball. Maybe start Dolphins got slight edge. Herbert's just a much better quarterback than Tua on Madden. So Silk's been. I think I played him. He wasn't that good at defense, but he was moving the ball pretty good. I think it's gonna be a closer game than people think. Having those receivers. By the way, it's not the best receiver core. It's the second best behind the Bengals.
It's definitely better than the Bengals, but
I think that Rob does get the win. It's gonna be close at first. I'd say final score is gonna be 38-31.
yeah, here's the thing. Like, I think you highlighted, Chevy's not a great defense. I don't know if he's going to be able to stop Rob. Rob not only has just this speed all over the field at receiver, he's fast at running back too. He's a 95 speed running back. All of us know Rob to be a running user. He can run the football, man. And Tua's got an X factor this year. He's got Devontae Adams. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to hold them. Like, who's going to be able to make sure that one of those three is not open every single play? I think Rob is going to roll through this game. This is one where like the users feel closer, but the game is not going to be close. I'm going to take the Dolphins to win here, 52-17 over the Chargers. Got the Eagles at the Patriots. This will be Tim playing at T-Lou. T-Lou getting back into the league this year with the Pats. Always known as a running user. Played some defense too. Going to be going up against Tim and this loaded Eagles roster.
I know Dave's not here anymore, but I think, was Dave the guy? I'm going to think something else. Who was the guy that's always saying that Tim should be kicked? Was it Dave or was it Drop?
Drop is always ready to kick Tim.
So Tim, I'm just saying because Tim has not even joined yet, so we think it's going to be Tim against T-Lou, but hopefully he gets on that and plays the game. So T-Lou roster's pretty bad. Eagles roster is way better. Tim's a good enough user that he's probably going to win that game if they do play. T-Lou actually is trading his best player, Judon, 89 overall. He's trading him to Cincinnati, so I can't really see that defense doing much against Hurts. I say final's going to be about 42-21, somewhere in that range for the Eagles.
Yeah, I'll take the Eagles roster. I don't know the other user is, but him having the Eagles, I'll just say he'll win 27-21.
Yeah, I like Tim to win this game here. He's a better user than people give him credit for. T-Lou's not terrible either, but he's not been able to play a lot, man. That's the problem. I think Tim's going to win this one relatively handily. I'll say 45-21. Next, we have the Rams versus the Seahawks. This is a brand new Rams user, a friend of K-Sap's. I know nothing about him. He says that he's not bad, that he's a pretty mid-level user, maybe slightly above average. Playing on the road at Jack and the Seahawks. Not knowing who this Rams user is what kind of tears me up about this.
He's definitely the most interesting team builder. So you see him, he traded me Lockett and Diggs for some picks and like a left tackle. So he's in a way he's trading for the future. But then in his next trade, he trades for Minka and he did something else too. He's making some interesting moves. So I think he's just trying to build his team. I think he wins this game. I don't know the Rams guy either, but I think he's got enough. He's got a really good feel for how to use his team. So wherever he's on that team, he's going to maximize them. Probably wins this game by a couple touchdowns, especially considering the Rams are, other than the Cardinals, probably the worst roster in the game. So I got Jack in this one.
Yeah, I'll take Jack. I'll say he'll win by a couple of touchdowns, 34-20. I mean, it's hard to predict this. I don't know the guy either. But I'll just go by the roster. A lot of speed, a lot of size. So,
Yeah, Will Levis getting the start in Seattle, traded over with Treylon Burks over to the play for the Seahawks. The thing about Jack is, I think he's a good offensive user. I think he's a relatively good defensive user, but he has one glaring weakness. I think it's an unquestionable fact that Jack may have been the worst defensive user in the league at stopping the run. It's just the way he plays. He kind of pushes everybody back. Even I'm not a running user. Even when we played like head-to-head games this year, hoping for a little bit more, I gashed him. So I think if Tay can realize that, he'll keep the game close. I still think Jack pulls. So give me the Seahawks to win 35-17 here. Cowboys, Jazz taking over, sending her team on the way to New York to play Bruno and his Giants. This is going to be a sneaky good matchup. I think this is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about the division. I know it's a good sidetrack from the game, but obviously you got Tim and the Eagles. Who's the commander?
Flip. Flip.
All right. So, I mean, that's a pretty cool division. I guess the winner of this game, of this series, the Giants and the Cowboys, has a good shot at the division, depending on how if Tim does become active and if he goes that Eagles team. But both of these teams got a realistic shot at the division. Jazz, she's getting better every release, every season last year. She's getting better. So, in this game, the Cowboys definitely a better roster, which gives Jazz a good shot. Bruno is pretty good at Madden though, so I'm gonna go with the Giants in this one. But Daniel Jones has limitations, and Michael Parsons is an absolute fiend. So if Jazz can dial up the pressure, so keep it close. But I'll give Bruno a win, 34-27.
yeah, I'm gonna say Jazz in this one. I think this is
Shocker. Yeah, it is.
So, when you have your favorite team, I think you should. It means a little more to you. Good. I wish I had the Broncos. So I'll take a 31-28.
I'm going to counter that argument. Do you know who Bruno's favorite team is? It's the Giants. So I think that Bruno's going to want to represent with his roster too. I think Jazz is going to put up a good fight. This division, although probably being the weakest as far as talent overall, is going to be the most exciting race down the stretch. We could end up with something where all the users have 7 or 8 wins heading into the final week. It's going to be really interesting. I'm going to take Bruno to win here at home, though. I think he's going to defend the Meadowland. Give me the Giants to win 27-24. I'm going to say off another game-winning field goal. Finally, we're going to finish it up with E-Fly and his Bills. Newly added Nick Chubb joins them on the road playing at Chapo and his Jets. I have not seen Chapo on Madden a ton, and when I have seen him, I think he's been playing much. So I'm not sure how many practice games he really got in. I don't think he played too many against the league. So that'll be interesting, to watch.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. So it's hard for me to say. I feel like Chapo is the technically better defensive user.
Yes.
But E-Fly just gives me more trouble. E-Fly is just the chaos that he can bring. Like he's very unpredictable. I'm not sure he's got something on defense that he does that nobody else really does. You play E-Fly, you got to play him a little different. And I think when they played in regs, I believe E-Fly was beating him majority of the time, which not that entirely matters to me, a little different. And now that we're in sim mode and everything, but it's going to be a hell of a game. I think E-Fly just got Chubb. I don't think Chapo did any moves yet.
Did not.
He's trying to move Cook, but that Jets team, the biggest problem is going to be, like in real life, Allen he's better than Rodgers, he's faster, but Rodgers should not be 10 overall, whatever he is, lower than Allen. So if E-Fly can get some pressure on Rodgers, he'll probably miss the throws, which is not the real life thing, but I think E-Fly's got the roster advantage, and his users pretty comparable, so I'm going to go with E-Fly in this one by about a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Chop. I've actually played him a lot. I just think he's a better user, and I'll take Chop, and he'll find a way to win 28-24.
I think Chapo's the better defensive user. I won't argue that. I think Dean is also correct that E-Fly is not necessarily a good defensive user. I wouldn't classify him as a top, 5 or 6, but he's very unpredictable. Like there's no like figuring out his defensive scheme. I think that his roster is better, especially the offensive talent. Sauce Gardner is going to be able to do pretty well against Diggs. I think that he's going to run the ball with Chubb. Hopefully, he'll use Allen's legs as well. I see Efly winning this game. I'm going to say he kind of pulls away late. So I'm going to say let's go Bills win 35-28 over the Jets. That's going to do it for the regular season Week 1 games. We're going to go ahead and do one last thing here before we get off with this video. We're going to go over to the standings so it's easier to see by division. We're going to be picking the winner. Fuck it. We'll just pick the one how we think each division is going to finish, 1 through 4. And then once we've gone through all the divisions, all of us will tell you who we think our 3 wildcard teams will be as well. So we're going to start off with the AFC North. We'll do it the same order we've been going. We'll go Dean, and then G's, and then me. How is this going to finish, Dean?
So number 1 is going to be Cincinnati, and that honestly, I would say this sometimes I know I don't come across as too humble, but I would say that Gabe or Twan, if they had the Bengals, would also probably win this division. The Bengals are just the best team, and the users are pretty close. So the Bengals are the best roster, and I've been improving them. So Bengals win this division, I'd say by about 2 games, maybe. We'll see. Hopefully 2 or more, so it's not too crazy at the end. And then I'd say second place. I would have said Twan, but as we know, he's doing like a sale. Gabe, I'm not really sure entirely what he's doing, but he does have an upgraded quarterback. He's still got this pass rush, like you mentioned. So I got Gabe finishing second. I think he'll be a wild card team, which we'll talk about that later. But I think he's going to be second, and then third's going to be a toss-up. It should be Twan, but again, he might, not saying he's tanking, but he might not be super focused on winning. He might keep trading pieces. We'll see. So it's going to be close between him and Leslie, but that's how I'm going. 1, 2, 3, 4. The Bengals, Steelers, and then a tie for third.
Okay. I'm going to take Dean first. And I believe Twan, even with all the trades, I think Watson still has enough secondary. He'll come in second. Gabe third, and then unfortunately the Ravens fourth place with Lamar.
And don't get me wrong, Dean's going to win the division. I'm going to take Gabe to finish second. Then I'm going to go Twan. Both those two will be extreme. It's kind of tough division, man. He'll win more and compete more this early season, but I still am going to pick him to finish last. All right, let's move on to the AFC South. We have Chap with the Colts, Alex with the Jags, Jason with the Texans, and Ryan with the Titans. Go for it, Dean.
Well, it's really a 3-man race. Sorry, Chap. But Chap's fourth. I'll put fourth place first. So fourth place is going to be Chap. Third place. This year, it's tough because I know like Jason does not miss the playoffs. So other than that year, he tanked with the Jags a few years back.
Listen, that was 16 seasons ago, right? We're not going to talk about it.
Yeah. So he hasn't missed the playoffs in a long time. So you'd think he'd keep that streak alive. I don't like the Willis trade though, at least in terms of him making the playoffs. Maybe long term it'll work out, but I'm actually going to put Jason third here. It's probably not a playoff team, maybe a wild card. I'm going to go second place. I'm going Alex. I think Alex without roster is going to be very nice. And I don't see him doing trades. I think he's just kind of, keeping the roster good as he can and winning stock. So he's not giving anybody away. He's not doing anything crazy. And then Ryan, of course, despite that roster being kind of mid, he is a top 3 user in this league. So I think he's going to win that division.
Yeah, I'll take the Titans winning the division. Ryan win that division. Jags will come in second. Jason third, and the Colts will come in, he'll be fourth.
Listen, we like it when the odds are stacked against us, all right? There's a reason I haven't missed the playoffs in 16 seasons. That being said, I think Ryan will win the division. He's just too good of a user. He's got the better quarterback. He's got the better team, to be honest with you. I do think we're going to split season 1. I think that Willis is going to be a struggle. Dean, you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said that long-term it may help the Texans, but year 1 it's obviously not going to be as good as Stroud. I'm going to take myself to finish second, closely over Alex, and then finish it with Chap last, although I don't think Chap is going to be near as bad this year as he was last year. Moving on.
I think Chap Chap is a very close parallel to Leslie. Might be better this year and everything, but he's in a division with 3 guys that are better than him. So I'm with you on that. And I will say, in terms of your playoff streak, Jason, is when's the last time you didn't have a good quarterback? Wasn't that your Jags team year 1? So this is kind of the test for you.
That is a great point. And that being said, I'm kind of glad you noted that about Leslie too. I think if Chap or Leslie were in that division in the NFC East, we're gonna get to in a little while, I'd probably pick both of them to win the division. That's just what it comes to. It's all about where you land. The AFC East. Oh man, this is gonna be an interesting one. Got a 3-headed monster between E-Fly's Bills, Rob's Dolphins, and Chapo's Jets, followed by and then lastly T. Lou with his Patriots.
Yeah, it's a tough division here. It's really, no offense to Rob, but it's going to come down to whoever wins the series between E-Fly and Chapo. So that Week 1 game is huge, and this is for real life NFL as well. That series between the Jets and the Bills is probably going to end up winning that division. And roster-wise, they're close. I don't know about Madden for sure. I haven't seen the Bills' defense yet. The Jets in real life have a better defense. Maybe not on Madden. I don't know, but. It's really a gut check because I don't like playing either one of those guys. I think Chapo's very good at offense, very consistent anyway, and defensively he's solid. And then E-Fly he's bad games, but when he's at his best, he's really good. So I'm gonna take Bills first in that division, but Chapo will be a playoff team. And then Rob's gonna be third, also a fringe playoff team. He's got the firepower to make the playoffs. And Patriots. If T-Lou wins 3 games, I'd probably be surprised. So that's how this is going to go.
Yeah, I'm going to take Chopper to win the division. I think he's the better user. I got Rob coming in second. I just don't see how he doesn't win 11 games with that offensive firepower. I know Tua isn't the best quarterback, but man, like Hill, Waddle. Then with the
Devontae Adams.
Wow. Yeah. E-Fly coming third, and then C. Lewis fourth.
Well, as you know, E-Fly hasn't played man coverage too much, so I think having Adams is huge. Nobody can play man on Rob. It's just not going to happen. But E-Fly comes down to pressure and making him turn it over, and I think Rob's still going to turn the ball over. What do you think, Jason?
Listen to me. This is the hot take section of the episode, okay? I had these feelings that I'm about to tell you before Rob made the trade for Devontae Adams. Rob is my dark horse Super Bowl contender. I think that everybody I played, he seemed like he had the biggest jump this year from last year. Rob has always been a solid defensive user. He's got speed all over the goddamn field. Not just Hill and Waddle. He's got a 95 speed running back. You know, his offensive line is better than it has been. 2 is better. I think Rob's going to win the division. Me and him have been arguing all goddamn day today and yesterday, man. But, Rob, I'm going to give you your props, bro. You have looked really good in preseason, man. And I think you have this loaded roster. If you're going to ever go win some playoff games, make a Super Bowl, this is the year. So I've got Rob winning this division. Like Dean said, nobody's going to play man coverage against him. It's just impossible. And when you play zone, running the ball is easier. So I'm going to pick Rob to win. I'm going to take E-Fly to finish second. I really like the moves he made with this roster. He's going to cut down the turnovers. And the talent on the roster, I think, is just as good, if not better, than the Jets with Chapo. I don't think Chapo's going to be bad. Both of you took him to win the division, but I think that I haven't seen him play enough. He's a good defensive user. He kind of struggles on offense. That's why I've got him last, because I don't think he's going to be able to win shootouts versus Rob and E-Fly. And then, like Dean said, again, with T-Lou, I'm going to take him to finish last in the division. Probably a 4-win team or something like that. But that's my hot take of these standings for sure. Is I think Rob's going to have one of the sneaky best teams in the entire AFC this year. Moving on to the AFC West. Broncos with LP, Chargers with Chevy, Chiefs with Dwayne, and Des with the Raiders.
This one's a pretty, I guess I would say the doors closed kind of, it's closed kind of thing. There's really not much of a case here. So the Broncos can win division. Number 2 is going to be a toss-up between the Raiders and the Chargers. I'm going to go with Des. Well, it depends on where you have the quarterback. If he's trying to build that young guy all year, he might actually finish in third. But normally it's going to be 1 and 2 Broncos, Raiders, and then 3 Chargers and and Dwayne back there in fourth. But Dwayne has said that this year he's gonna figure it out and be good with Mahomes. So like maybe he'll surprise us. So that's how I see this division. Especially year one, LP's got that on lock.
Yeah, I'll take LP. That's Shook and Dwayne.
I think that foregone conclusion, LP is going to win this division. I think Chevy and Dwayne and Des is going to be interesting. I don't like the Duggan start as far as winning games goes for Des. I am going to take the Raiders to finish second. I'm going to take the Chiefs and Chargers. Dwayne and his nephew to be about. It's a toss up, man. I'll take Chevy with his Chargers just barely to beat out Dwayne with the Chiefs. Moving on to the NFC North. This is by far the best division in the entire league. You have the Bears with Delvin. Poor guy. It's gonna be a struggle this year. Lions with Drop. Packers with Savon. Vikings with Hutch. There had to have been some collusion for this to end up this way. It's gonna be insane, man.
Yeah, I feel like I might have told the story before, but Delvin, when he joined the league, he's like one of the
OGs.
five that are still here, original members. I'm pretty sure like I was in some kind of Facebook group, like I'm still in it, but I just don't look at it anymore. But I just messaged him, or he messaged me at some other tour. I said, hey man, I'm playing the Madden League. He's like, yeah, I'll play. Then he didn't respond for like a week or so. I sent him invite on to join, and this dude, I mean, he made playoffs a couple times, but he takes his losses better than anybody. Like he takes a lot of losses, but he plays hard. Hopefully this isn't the that he decides that he's had enough, but he's going to lose all of those games twice a year in a division for probably the entire Madden. So it's going to be a tough year for him, but I hope he finds a way to have fun with his Bears and Fields. So he's fourth place. I'm sorry, fourth place again. Number one, it's hard to tell. I'm going to say year one's going to be Drop or JJ, just because the Packers don't have a quarterback, and not that the Lions do either, but he's a long-term building type of guy. He doesn't care about year one. I mean, he's going to play hard, but I'm going to take JJ to win the division. I'm going to put Drop second and Savon third. That being said, each one of those games is going to be exciting to watch, and I'm just very happy that those three are in a division together, because that means they can't stat pad and boost their teams. They're actually going to play against good defense. So that's the best case scenario for the league, is having those three together.
I'm gonna take Slim to win the division. Even with him building the team, or the team not really where he needs it to be, he always still finds a way to win. Second, man, that's a tough one between Drop and JJ. I'm gonna say because the Lions had a better overall team, I'll go with Drop coming in second, then JJ, and the Bears will be good.
I went on record saying this months ago whenever we did our team picking that I thought the Savon was going to steamroll the NFC this year. And I still feel the same way. He's the most complete user in this league. He's the best user in the league by far, for sure. He can get away with building and still being absolutely dominant at the same time. And I feel like nobody else can really do it the way that he can. Drop and Hutch are both going to be building their teams as well. Definitely not as good defensively, I would say, as Savon. So I'm going to take Savon's Packers to easily win the division. I think he's not going to sweep his division. He's going to drop one somewhere, but I don't think this is going to be close. I'll take Hutch to finish second, just above Drop. I got both of them probably winning 11 games, maybe 12. I think that Hutch plays slightly better defense, which is the only difference between the two. Offensively, I think they're about the same. So I'll take Hutch to finish second, Drop to finish third. Very close race there, and then Delvin last. It's gonna be a long Madden for him, man. Moving on to the NFC South, this is another one of those divisions. Actually, kind of super exciting. The Bucks with Mike, the Jeff with the Falcons, Peso with the Panthers, and Zay with the Saints.
Man, that's I'm gonna think on that one. You go first, Steve.
I think Jeff is going to come back this season with a vengeance. I think he's going to win the division year one. I got him losing week one, but I think Once he gets rolling, he's going to end up winning the division. And I'll take Zay, the Panthers, and then Purple Rain.
So I'm going to admit I haven't. I like that pick. It's not bad at all. But I haven't looked at the Saints roster in Madden. They kind of remind me of a team like the Jets, maybe. That in real life is a top 5 defensive roster, but on Madden, probably not. But again, I haven't seen them, so I'm not for sure. That being said, I still think Zay is going to control that division. Who they got a quarterback? Derek Carr. So Derek Carr, as long as he's somewhere near 80, maybe high 70s, low 80s, I don't know where they put him. Probably
78.
He's going to be good enough to win that division and kind of play the game manager type role. Kamara should still be pretty good. So he's going to have a good run game. Zay plays for the strength of his team, and let's not forget he won the Super Bowl year 1 last year. Just when rosters are kind of even or he's a little better, he's the better guy. He's going to win the division. Second place is going to be probably Jeff with the Falcons, and then third, Panthers, and I think this Bucks should finish last. But we'll see what happens. Bucks, good roster, but no quarterback and kind of aging. So
No running back either.
I think they're the worst before. Yeah. So.
I think Zay's going to win the division. I feel very comfortable with that one. If you told me these next 3 finish in any order that you could make up, I'd tell you you're right. Like, I have no idea who's going to finish second or who's going to finish last. I don't think Peso's played a ton. I don't know how much Mike and Jeff have played. I know they've played a little bit each. I'm going to take Jeff to finish second. Man, Peso third, Mike last. I don't think it's because Mike is any worse than Peso and Jeff. Just the quarterback situation, no running back either. Generally, like if you don't have a QB, you want a good running back, and he doesn't really have either. He does have good receivers, though. Moving.
Remember, in real life, a few years ago, whenever this division was so bad, like Tom Brady, I think made the playoffs at 7-9 or 8-8 or something. I can't remember, but it could be that way this year. If Zay doesn't have a good season, this could be a division that like nobody should be in the playoffs, but somebody will be. We'll see what happens. But.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's definitely going to be the theme of the next division we're predicting. Flip and the Commanders, Jazz and the Cowboys, Tim and the Eagles, and Bruno and the Giants. This division seems very easy across the board.
Don't disrespect Bruno like that. Bruno's going to win this division. Unless Jazz prove me wrong and upset him week 1 and kind of take control. But Bruno's very solid. Like we already talked about, this is his team. This is his team he's used to playing with. The only person I think would play better with them, well, not better with them, but more familiar with them would be Beth, because he's also a Giants fan. But I got Bruno winning this. Second place, really going to be a toss-up. I don't know. Again, a lot of unknowns about him. He hasn't joined the league yet, and he's always kind of in and out, it seems like. But I'll take Jazz second. I'll say she's going to be a consistent user, and that defense is just really nice. Dak's very serviceable. Pollard should be nice. I haven't looked at him, but he had a great season last year before the injury. And then fourth place up with the Commanders. So that's with that one. But Bruno's, I'm going records. Bruno's going to win that division.
I'm going to take Jazz to win this division by a game. Bruno second. Who has the Eagles and the Commanders?
Tim is the Eagles, Flip is the Commanders.
And then Commanders is Flip, I think.
Yes.
Flip? Okay, I'll take Tim. If they play Tim second and then Flip.
I think that Flip's got a disadvantage of not being able to. He hasn't played much as the games come out, but as far as talent goes, I don't think he's that far behind any of these guys. Great defensive user, runs the ball. Man, this division's gonna be interesting. I almost want to pick Jazz to win it, but she's just so. The defensive scheme is not there. The offensive scheme is. I think Bruno is a lot more balanced. I'm going to take Bruno to win the division. I'm going to take Jazz to finish second, but just barely over Flip. And then I'll have Tim, with the best roster in the game, finishing last in his division. Last division, we have the NFC West. A lot of bad rosters in this league. In this division. And then you have the Niners. You got It is not bad. I was messing with it. You got Case out with the Cardinals. JG's with the Niners. New guy, Tay. I think his name's Tay. Is that what he said? With the Rams, and then Trey. and then Jack with the Seahawks.
So year one, it's going to be the best two rosters. I mean, K-Sap will give them a fight, and maybe he'll win one or two games against Geese or against Jack if he really is lights out. But that roster is just so bad, he really shouldn't. Unless he pulls a miracle, he shouldn't be favored to make the playoffs this year. Like we said, Jason, his roster is significantly worse than yours. It's not even close. I think Texans actually not as bad as I thought they were going to be. So. First place is gonna be hard for me to really say. It should be Jay. Jay should win it. He plays a better defense. I think that roster's a little better. CMC is a beast. And as we know, Jack's not a good defensive user. He's not good against the run. But long term, K-Sap's gonna win that division. I think once he gets built up a little bit. It's really gonna be some good battles. Those top three, and then the Rams at the bottom. Despite he doesn't know who that user is. These three users, none of them are. I mean, K-Sap's really good, but they're all great franchise players. They all build and play with their teams really well. So it's gonna be fun to watch how that goes. But I'm gonna go this year. I'm gonna go one. One's gonna be Geese. Two's gonna be Jack. Three's gonna be K-Sap, and four's gonna be Rams.
I should win the division this year. All right, that's how I feel. In second place, I think K-Sap is gonna find a way to come in second place. He's a crafty user, like I said before. He finds a way to win. And Jack will probably come in third, and the Rams fourth. K-Sap might even win the division. I'm just gonna say, if I mess around and throw picks like I did last Madden, K-Sap might even win this division with that team that you're looking at.
I think the K-Sap's still going to win this division. If anybody can do anything with do the most with little, it might be K-Sap as far as building goes. Pickett's not going to be great at quarterback. He doesn't have a ton of weapons, but the speed is there at receiver. What is the Niners' one weakness on defense? Corner. So I'm gonna take K-Sap and the Cardinals to win the division. I think JG's will be a close second. I got Jack finishing third. I think he's not gonna be able to stop the run. Is his problem? Jack struggles to stop the run, and both K-Sap and G's are gonna give him plenty of the run game. So I see him struggling in division games for sure. And I just don't know anything about Trey with the Rams to be able to predict him anything other than fourth.
Hey, is that guy Ward for the Niners? Is he a safety or a corner?
Oh, it's corner. Shavarius Ward.
He's 87 overall now, so at least he's got one corner.
Yeah, so but I mean, talking about three receivers with 95 speed. Sorry, I was reading a message in chat. Let's go in and predict these teams as far as then our wild cards, and then we'll predict who we think is going to win each division, and then, win each conference and their Super Bowl winner. So let's start with the AFC. So, Dean, you had the Bengals, the Titans, the Jets.
Out of that, in the South, I don't know if we get a wild card here. It's going to be either Jason or Alex if we do. We come back to that. In the East, you're going to have one wild card. It's going to be the Jets and probably the Dolphins. And the West, no wild card. So really it's going to come down to either Jason, Alex, or Rob, I think. We're going to be the ones taking that last wild card spot. And it should be Rob. He's got the roster for it. That's what I'm going with. Definitely Gabe, and definitely, I feel the person I said, definitely E-Fly or Chapo, and then the last spot's going to be a fight between the three.
Jeez, you had Chapo winning the division. I remember that. You had LP, you have Ryan, and you have Dean. No, you had Twan winning the division. Excuse me.
Dean.
Oh, that's right. You had Twan second. So who was your three wildcard teams going to be?
Rob, E-Fly, and Twan.
Rob, E-Fly, and Twan. All right, so I had Rob winning the division in the East, and then I had LP, Dean, and Ryan, the same as both of you. I think that E-Fly is going to be a wildcard team for sure. The Texans are going to be a wildcard team. I think I'm going to finish 7th. I think I'm going to sneak in. I can't pick against myself to continue the streak. I think I don't play in a super tough division, which I have that going for me. Now I'm trying to decide if I think Chapo or Gabe is going to be in and be that 6th seed. I think I'm going to go with Gabe to be the 6th seed. And I'm going to take Chop. Fuck, I don't know, man. I'm going to take Chapo to be the 6th seed because of the quarterback. And then I'm going to say Gabe barely misses out on the playoffs. So then we go to. Why don't we just go ahead and do this while we're here? Who do you think is going to win the AFC?
So I'm going to go with the Bengals, and if it's not the Bengals, I'm almost certain that it's going to be the Titans. So I think Bengals and Titans are really the only two, and if Ryan does do that, it's just him as a user being better than everybody because his roster is like maybe top, not even top 10, or right around top 10 in the AFC. So that's where I'm going with Bengals and Titans.
Jeez.
You take Titans versus the Jets.
Okay. Who do you think wins the AFC?
Titans.
Okay.
Titans going to the Bowl.
We're gonna have Bengals and Titans in the AFC title game, and I'm actually gonna take Dean to make the Super Bowl. I think there's a huge difference in quarterback, which is what it's gonna come down to, and I think it'll be a great AFC title game. But I've got the Bengals winning the AFC. Rob, I think, is definitely going to make noise in the regular season. When he show up in the playoffs, he's going to have to beat Dean or beat Ryan. I don't know if it's going to be there. Moving on to the
honorable mention for the AFC. If it's not the Titans and it's not the Bengals, it's going to be the Jets. He flies me up to 2 with Allen, but I just think come playoff time, Chapo's the guy that I'm most scared of in the AFC.
God,
Ryan.
I just could not feel any more opposites. Not that I think Chapo's some bad user. I don't think he's going to make it out of the first round this year. There's just a lot of talent when it comes to the AFC. We'll move on to the NFC though. So, Dean, you had Savon, you had Zay, you had Bruno, and you had JG's winning their divisions.
I actually had JJ in the North, and it's kind of a toss-up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Correct.
Honestly, it doesn't matter who wins that division too much. They're going to be kind of close, and all 3 of those teams are going to make the playoffs. So you got one winner there. Let's say it's the Vikings, based on what I picked before, and then you got the Packers and Lions, both wild cards. So that only leaves one wild card spot for all the other teams. It won't be the South, and it won't be the East. So that means there's actually a chance here for Jack or Geese if they lose the division to take that 3rd wild card spot.
So you had G's winning the division, right? So that's what
he's winning it. So if he wins that division, then that means Jack might have a shot at that 7th seed, right behind Savon and Drop.
Gotcha. All right, G's, you had yourself win the division. You had Jazz and her Cowboys, and then you had Zay and Savon.
No, I had Jeff and Savon.
Oh, that's right. You did have Jeff win the division. Excuse me.
Wild cards is JJ, Drop, and K-Tech.
Interesting. So I had Savon win the division. I had Zay. I had Bruno, and I had K-Sap. I think that both Drop and Hutch are going to make the playoffs, and I think JG's gets in as the 7th seed. I think he's gonna make it with the Niners. Who's going to be our NFC winner each? I'll go ahead and burst the bubble. I think it's going to be Savon. Pick against him.
The Packers defense really is pretty solid. He did trade Clark though, so his run defense is going to be kind of weak depending on because the Packers don't have good linebackers. They have Quay Walker who you can build, and they have Campbell who's kind of aging, and they don't get safeties. The Packers safeties are some of the worst in the NFL in real life and in Madden. So as good as Savon is as a user, that means he's always going to have a chance to win it. But he got rid of Bakhtiari, he got rid of Kenny Clark, so he's kind of clearly not trying to win this year. He might still do it, but I'm gonna go with somebody that's actually playing to win it. I'm gonna go with Drop. As much as I think JJ's gonna win the division, I think Drop gets him in the playoffs by the time he gets those Lions right.
Jeez. Go ahead.
I got myself.
Oh.
Oh God.
Obviously.
where you'll lose 57-0 to Savon.
I have a lot to prove this man, and I'm starting off with a pretty good team. Man, my opponent, man, it's hard to go against Swim, man. It really is. I know he's saying that he's rebuilding, but even in rebuilding, when he's building the quarterback, he still finds a way to win. He still drops 40, 50, 60 points, sometimes more than that, and wins and dominates. So I will be playing him in an NFC Championship game, and unfortunately, I will probably lose. I have Swim going to the Bills.
All right, so I have Packers Bengals. Dean has Bengals Lions, and G's, you have Titans Packers. All right, Dean, go ahead and pick yourself to win the Super Bowl.
So depending on, if I make a Super Bowl, I'm going to win it, and that's no slight to drop. I mean, I do talk shit to him a lot, but he honestly is definitely the last few years he's been the better user than me. But he's not going to have a quarterback. Because nobody from the NFC is going to have an X-Factor quarterback barring some crazy season. But if it is X-Factor, it's not going to be built. So if somehow you drop this X-Factor quarterback like he builds one, they're going to be like low 80s overall at the highest, probably high 70s even if it's Hooker. So the quarterback matchup is going to favor the Bengals. So I got Bengals beating the Lions in Super Bowl. I'm going to say final score 31-20.
All right, G's, you got Titans and Packers.
I'm going to actually take the Packers and Ryan will win again in the bowl. They played 2 or 3 times last
Probably
year.
Probably more than that.
I think I know he won one of them. I think he'll win this one. 24-21.
I got Packers versus Bengals. I think Dean's going to have a great run through the playoffs. He's going to beat Ryan. It's going to be a great season. Unfortunately, every Cinderella story must strike midnight at some point. I think Savon's going to win the Super Bowl. In the playoffs, he's going to buckle down. It won't be about building anymore. It'll be about winning the goddamn game, which is something he's better than anybody in this league at. So I'm going to take Savon to win the Super Bowl. I'll say it's close early, but let's go 42-24 Packers over the Bengals. That is going to do it for our predictions video. A little bit longer than I had planned for it to be, but we still got to the finish line. We appreciate everybody who has took the time to watch the video, all the patience we have for the league to get started this year. Make sure you're following any pinned messages we put into chat. Make sure all of you go read the goddamn rules again to familiarize yourself with them. There's not going to be any, oh, it's the first game, my bad type stuff. Like, make sure you're on top of your stuff, all right? That being said, appreciate y'all.